producers are the best. You see how they pulled that UConn video?
Quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah.
Right?
I'd say. I'd forgotten you could dunk.
Don't do me like that.
NBA vet, champ, two-time All-Star Caron Butler in the house. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
All right, so let's get into it. Your reaction to Game 1 last night?
I was shocked. You know, I thought that Cleveland would have came out with a different sense of urgency. I thought they would have been a lot better. You know, maybe it was the rhythm of the game and the layover and, finishing that last series relatively quickly. But I thought Golden State just came out with a good flow and, usually for the opposing team, the recipe for success is holding Clay and, Steph, under, 40 points. And
how about 20?
Those two guys scored 20 and you still don't win the game. It was just shocking. I'm still in awe over the game.
Stephen A?
I'm wondering, Caron, do you, based on what you saw last night, do you have a remedy for the Cleveland Cavaliers to win this series? Is there any way you see them being able to pull this off based on what you saw last night?
What we just talked about, during the break was I think LeBron needed to be more aggressive. I thought he came out in the first quarter, extremely assertive.
He did.
He had a plan, and he came out and did some things, and I was just like, man, he's going to take it to him all night, get to the paint and everything.
He drove the ball 5 times and scored 4 times in the first quarter. In quarters 2 through 4, he drove the ball only 6 more times. So he started drifting away from what he does best.
Yeah, I mean, you want to see more of that. Like, particularly last year in the finals, people forget how well he played and the level he was at. And now you got these guys back healthy, Kyrie, Kevin Love, play the same way and let the chips fall where they may. And I think those guys need to insert themselves in that style and that brand of the game and, fill in the holes and the gaps and, win the series or try to win the series at least.
Also, speaking of the commercial break, not to tell tales, but you guys got into a very interesting back and forth about J.R. Smith. He was my X factor going into this. I said he should come up big because he can tilt the floor, man. When he gets hot, he can get as hot as Clay can get on occasion.
Definitely.
Not as often, but on occasion.
Yeah, once he gets into a flow and a rhythm, he's a difficult shot taker and a difficult shot maker.
So he winds up taking 3 shots and making 1 shot. And I'm saying, what's up, man? What is he hurt? Because he had a floor burn. I don't know if he hurt his hand or whatever. But he didn't look that hurt to me. How do you explain he only took 3 shots?
Well, it's 2 things. Either he's injured or he's really hurt. Like in the huddle, I was watching closely and he was describing the pain in his hand and all that. But at the same time, I was looking at the game and the flow of the game, and I saw Kyrie, pounding the ball and, trying to get into gaps. And was that one of the reasons why he was taken out of the game as well, disrupted the rhythm? And, sometimes with players, if you're not getting touches, that's going to affect you on the opposing end as well with, defense. And, sometimes your offense is your best defense. And if you can't get going offensively, then it's kind of a wash. You shouldn't be out there. And I felt like in this game in particular, that was one of the cases with J.R. Smith.
So, Stephen A., what's your theory on J.R. Smith?
My theory is that he had to have been hurt because the J.R. that I know shoots and misses 10 shots and has no conscience about shooting the 11th.
Short memory.
So, he does not care. So I find it shocking that he only attempted 3 shots. That's why I keep coming up with the analogy, who shot JR from that Dallas series from years ago, because to me, he had to have gotten shot and we missed it because how could he not shoot the basketball? It makes no sense. It's not the JR I know. I don't know this guy that shot just 3 shots last night. That's not who he is. J.R. Smith will pull up 3 times from the parking lot, for crying out loud. That's who he is. So it doesn't make any sense to me. He had to be hurt.
I don't know who we call the point guard of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think it's more LeBron than Kyrie. But whoever is at that moment, isn't it their responsibility to get him a touch and a shot, to get him going early?
Possibly, but I think the point of emphasis yesterday, and particularly that game, was, to get Kevin Love going. And I was happy to see Kevin Love get the ball in different places. You know, he wasn't just a stand around, pick and pop guy. You know, he caught the ball on the move a few times. He caught the ball at the pinch post. He caught it at the logo. You know, he was a little bit of everywhere. And that's something that we've seen in the past.
He was a focal point.
Yeah,
LeBron was almost forcing the ball to Kevin Love, and he responded with 17 points and 13 rebounds, which you would think on any given night would be good enough to help you win the game, right?
Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. And, you know, you saw the rotation was different, too. You know, the substitution pattern was different. He came back in the game. They inserted him back in the game early in the second quarter to give him a chance to stay in rhythm and flow.
So have you lost some faith in Cleveland's chances of making this a series?
I have, just because of the simple fact that it seemed like they was really defeated after that loss. And I know it's only one game, and, you know, LeBron is battle-tested. You know, he's been a villain. He's been praised, you know, in between everything. He's seen it all. So I'm still confident in the bounce back because of him, and he's in that locker room. I think the others have to be better. I think they have to wash or offset the others on the other team. And, you know, Sean Livingston don't get enough credit. You know, remarkable story. Shout out to Peoria, Illinois. You know, just come back and just, you know, put his fingerprints all over this first game. And this could be like one of the first times in NBA history that the reserve may get the finals MVP back-to-back. You know, that's unbelievable as well.
And by the way, Iguodala's still pretty good, too.
Yeah, man. He bounced back after Delly hit him in the jewels.
That was
he
it.
come back and just hit some big shots in the momentum. Yeah, 13-0 run after that.
What do you make of Cleveland's defensive lapses yesterday? There were so many where Golden State ended up with wide open layups. I mean, nobody in the vicinity, for crying out loud. How did that happen? I
mean, you look at the rotation, like the speed of the game, they literally ran through the Eastern Conference. You know, losing 2 games since April 15th or 16th or whatever it may have been. And, you know, running through the Eastern Conference and now getting to the Golden State Warriors, who's coming fresh out of a unbelievable battle against OKC. The pace of the game is different. And you see the pick and rolls, you see the slippage and everything, and you don't see the communication out there. You don't see the hand pointing and the talking and the verbal commitment on defense. So it's something that's going to be a reality check today. They got to be honest with one another. You know, it's not about working on the handshakes or anything like that. They got to work on, you know, the disposition and the mentality to come into the series. And let's steal a game. Let's get game 2, and let's work on that.
You ready to predict that?
I mean, they got it. This a must win, I think, for them. Yeah.
Do you
game
really?
2. I really do. I mean, you can't go back to Cleveland down 2-0. I think you have to make this an interesting series because it seemed like Golden State is so loose. As much as Cleveland wanted to get back with their healthy pieces, with Kevin Love and Kyrie, and with, you know, the trade and the new acquisitions, I think Golden State wanted to see them just as much as they wanted to see them. Yep. You know, you hear all the talk in the offseason that, you know, they was hobbled. Cleveland was hobbled. They was undermanned. And Steph Curry and them, you know, they got a gift championship. They hear that.
Yep.
And they came back poised and ready for this opportunity. And this is a big stage, and they want to prove doubters wrong.
Caron, speaking of working on things before we let you go, what really went wrong with the Kings?
What really went wrong? I think it was a few things. You know, you try to put a Band-Aid on a situation in which, you know, you have the superstar player in DeMarcus Cousins, and, you know, you have an unbelievable coach in George Karl, and they couldn't coexist. You know, just simple as that. They couldn't coexist. And, you know, when you're in a situation like myself as a veteran there, you just try to keep the locker room sound.
Couldn't coexist, why? Personality?
Personality, maybe the offense, things, you know, he just...
Stop right there. DeMarcus, listen, first of all, there's nobody that's relevant on the Sacramento Kings without DeMarcus Cousins, as far as I'm concerned, who I widely consider to be the best big man in the game offensively.
Hands down.
Tell us what kind of a person DeMarcus Cousins is and how difficult is it to deal with him, if difficult at all. So many things have been said. You're his teammate. Talk to me about that.
I feel like he's one of the loyal, honest dudes in the game. And, you know, he can't turn the page if the facts of the case wasn't visited and addressed in the right way. And, you know, I felt like that whole issue for a whole season was this, let's just get through. You know, and because it was a let's just get through and it wasn't no stability in that situation, it was tough to honor that voice.
clarity for our viewers, you're talking about rumors that George Karl tried to trade him,
Definitely.
and that was never addressed, correct?
Yeah, it was never addressed. And then you, as players, you know, from All-Star break and everything, I mean, as far as we knew, he was fired. And then you come, you know, we were in Philadelphia a game before All-Star break, and all of a sudden it's like, you're not moving, I'm coming back. It was deflating to the locker room. It was deflating to the guys, and we try to move forward, you know, and try to be professionals the best that we possibly could. But that was deflating to the team. It was a big blow, and it was tough to move forward in that scenario.
So y'all siding with DeMarcus Cousins because he is a loyal cat. I mean, he's honest, I'll tell you that much. He ain't going to lie to you now.
Yeah,
He's going to let you know how he feels.
It is what it is, and he may have a different way or a wrong way of going about it at times, but, you know, I respect it. You know, I respect that someone that goes out there, they're passionate. He get texts and stuff, but he plays with all his emotion, and he wears emotion on his sleeve.
Caron, appreciate your insight. Always good to see you and your honesty as
Appreciate
well.
it.
We'll
Thanks,
talk
bro.
to you soon.
Yeah, no problem.
Up next, LeBron James, just one assist away from a triple-double, but the Cavs lose big in Game 1 last night. How does Skip and Stephen A. grade his performance? That is next. Stay here.